Hi! Thank you very much for tuning back in. My name is Fonny. In my channel, I talk about my houseplant and my Hoyas. Today, it is another episode of Hoya related series. Last time, I made the Hoya species collection related to Hoya sigillatis, and a lot of you mentioned that they like this type of series. I also noted that a lot of people have left the comment saying that, can I make Hoya lacunosa collection? I would love to, but it would take me some time to summarize all of the Hoya lacunosa collection that I have. I suspect I have more than 30, so it would take me some time to put together a video. So I chose a slightly less Hoya species collection that I would like to show you. Today I would like to show you all of my Hoya Lyi collection. And specifically, one of the Hoya Lyi that I have obtained was in my Hoya Wishlist 2023. And I'm really happy to show you because I actually managed to acquire it from a collector. So don't forget to stay until the very end of the video, so then you won't miss out that very special, unique Hoya Lyi that I would like to show you. Without further ado, let's take a look at the close-up of all of the Hoya Lyi collection that I would like to show you today. Let's start with the one here that I have not shown as much in my channel before. This one over here is Hoya Lyi China. It has a different characteristic compared to other Hoya Lyi that I'm going to show you today. The leaf is a little bit inwards banded, and also, as you can see, the vein, it's more prominent of this one, and the color of the leaf is dark. And when it comes to where I got this from, I got this one from Hoya Passion. I will link on the side where is the unboxing that I have shown you. This one has been a year and maybe a half that I have purchased. It is definitely a slow grower. Not sure why it is super slow. I remember it took almost 3 months to actually see the first growth point, but it is alive at the time when I observed it because I can see that there are roots. But it took a very long time to actually put out this stem, if you can see. It tried to put out one stem before, but then it dried up and died. Obviously, it could be mite that hinder the growth, but I didn't really treat this one specifically. I just let it be because I'm not really familiar of how to fix the mite situation, but I saw that this plant is alive, so I just leave it alone. And after a while it managed to put out this stem, and this is the first leaf that it has pushed out. And as you can see, the leaf itself is very long and relatively larger compared to the other ones that I'm going to show you today. And you can see that this has a very prominent vein, as I have mentioned, compared to the other ones. And when I mentioned about the vein, I'm specifically talking about the coloration, because the other ones that I'm going to show you today, they don't really have the coloration as prominent. I'm going to show you quickly another example over here. You can see that this one over here doesn't have coloration of the vein, but obviously it does have the shape of the vein. If you look at this one side by side, the vein of Hoya Lyi China has a prominent venation compared to other ones that has the shape of the vein, but not really the coloration. So for this one, I put it in my Mealsbow cabinet since it has been received. So maybe it is because the Mealsbow cabinet is too warm and it doesn't really like too warm of a temperature compared to the natural habitat it has. But now that I see it's pushing out new growth point and I have treated it to get rid of thrips and mealybugs, I haven't seen anything for some time now. So I'm really happy. Even though it's not growing so much, it is healthy because it has pushed out 2 new grow tip. So I would say this one grow really slow, but it's not particularly difficult. I have it in pond as all of my other Hoyas, and I have a water reservoir as well. Let me know in the comment box below for your Hoya Lyi China. Does it look the same, because I realized that there are several kinds of Hoya Lyi called Hoya Lyi China, but they look completely different. I'll show you another one later on, and you can see the comparison. Even though it's also under the name of Hoya Lyi China, it's almost looks like they're a different species. The next one over here is sold to me as Hoya Lyi China, and this one is what I refer to a significant difference compared to the one that I showed you before. I'll just give you a quick close-up look. Both the size, the shape, the venation are completely different. So I believe it must be some kind of misleading tagging, but let's focus on this one over here. What I suspect, this one is not Hoya Lyi, but the new published Hoya spectatissima. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name very much, but as you can see over here, the leaf itself doesn't have any furriness, but it's more like on the shiny side. It has a smooth texture of the leaf, and the leaf itself is also relatively thick. If you look in this side, you can see that over here the leaf is relatively thick. It's not like the previous one that I showed you. This one I would say is much thinner if you look at side by side. And the interesting thing about this one is it has really round tip. If you look into the tip over here, and the shape and size differs so much. Obviously this one is the same plant, but look at this one. This almost looks like a serpent, but this one is a Hoya Lyi. So I think the growth pattern differs so much from what kind of environment I'm providing it. This one, at the time when I got it, it is relatively fuller plant. I would say these are the old leaf, and I think these four are the old leaf. I remember the time when I got this one, it started pushing out new growth, but I underwater it. I have a tight schedule and I completely forgot to water this one, and then the new growth actually dried up and died. It took a while to re-thrive. It did re-thrive, and I'm really happy that I did manage to re-thrive again, because this is such a really cute Hoya, and you can see that this tendril is really, really long. This one is pushed out after the underwatering strategy, and you can see this one in a close-up. It is definitely easier for you to see here. It is a more shiny, smooth texture, and the leaf shape is more oval. And if you turn on the back, it is also very smooth. The whole Hoya, it's more on a smooth side, and yeah, this is the new growth. The whole tendril is new, so I'm really happy that it managed to kind of save itself, provided that I didn't really care for it super well. I let it dry up. Look at the coloration, it's more on the lighter green color, and the back as well. And this one, I have placed it in my Mealspo cabinet since I received it. And this is, I would say this is the growth for the past, actually, year. As I mentioned, it was growing really well, but then I underwatered it and all of the tendril just dried up and I have to cut it off. And this whole tendril, this whole vine is grown after that, and that took approximately a year. So don't underwater your Hoya Lyi. It's just not that happy, and it will tell you from dying off itself. The next one here is Hoya Lyi without an accession number. I got this one from Camilla around 2 years ago, and this is the growth in the 2 years time. I would say in the beginning it grows relatively slow, but once the root has established, I will come back in 2 seconds. You can see that the growth is really nice. It is pretty dense when it comes to how close the internodes are, and also how many vine actually has been pushed out. This one always sits in my Mealsbo cabinet, which means it's a greenhouse environment. It is, I would say in winter time, it is between 18 to 25. In summertime, that would be between 20 to 32 Celsius degree. So this one, it's relatively easy to grow. As you can see, this is 2 years worth of growth. What is very interesting about Hoya Lyi is that it looks very, very similar to yuennanensis that I obtained from Camilla as well. I'm going to show you side by side in just a minute. But focusing on this Hoya Lyi, it grows with really compact growth pattern. As you can see, this is only 2 cuttings that I have divided at the time when I obtained it, but it has branched out quite a lot. As you can see, this one is 2 branch here and 2 branch here, and in the other parts it will also branch out. If you can see over here, this is a new growth point that has popped out in one of the node, and from this one you can see it's not just 2 leaves in the left and right side, but actually it has branched out like this. And if you look into the close-up of the leaf itself, this one is very hairy. I would say it's more like Hoya thomsonii, kind of furriness, very different from what I showed you Hoya Lyi China just previously. And with regard to the leaf texture, you can't really see the veination in color, but then you definitely can see it in the leaf shape itself. And this makes this Hoya looks extremely pretty, trailing down. It not just give you this very nice density, it's just perfectly distributed for all of the leaves. And each leaf has its own veination in terms of the shape, and the size is also very nice. It's not too big and it's not as small as, say, serpents. It is just really, really nice if you have a limited space and you would like to start with a small node. It just gives you really nice basket Hoya. Again, I really like basket Hoya plants. Another one over here is Hoya yuennanensis. I put this in the Hoya Lyi category. It's because I believe it is very, very closely related. And if you remember what I have just shown you, Hoya Lyi, that I forgot to get the accession number, it looks almost identical with a small difference on the leaf shape. This one on the left hand side, it is the Hoya Lyi that I just showed you. The one on the right hand side is Hoya yuennanensis that I obtained from Camilla. Yuennanensis on the left hand side, as you can see here, it's more rounded for the new grown leaf. The ones on the left hand side is more pointy, including the new growth. Let me just put this one close up. You see, this one is a new vine that has pushed out on the left hand side. The new leaf grow, you see here. The yuennanensis is more rounded and a little bit more wider, but the Hoya Lyi is more narrow and a bit more pointy. It is very, very similar in terms of the veination though. If we focus on this one that I'm showing you now, Hoya yuennanensis has this veination that is in the texture. Not that it has the coloration as a darker shade of green, but it is having the obvious vein on the leaf texture. And if you look into the hairiness, the new grown leaf also have very, very hairy texture, just like thomsonii and just like Hoya Lyi. And the growth pattern, as you can see here, yuennanensis, I believe I got it at the same time when I got the Hoya Lyi from Camilla, and it has grown this much in the past 2 years. Not extremely fast. It took some time to start growing, in my experience. It rooted quite well, but it has not grown any new growth point. I think the new growth point started a couple of months afterwards, so it really took some time for it to take off. And you can see that the leaf itself, it's also relatively smaller, and it's not very thick, but you can see it is darker in the shade, and also it has very obvious veination. And if you look into the newer growth point, I think this one here, you can see that the vine actually started off like dark purple, and after that it will transform it to the kind of bit more hardened stem texture. But all in all, I think it has a really nice growing pattern as well, because of the regular internode spacing, and also the size of the leaves are relatively similar. It just looks really elegant as a potted trailing down Hoya. Next up over here is also from Camilla, and this one I have marked down the accession number. It is LT08012. This, on the other hand, looks quite unique. Although you can see that the leaf size is relatively similar to what I have shown you, except for the Hoya Lyi from China. The first one that I have shown you, that is relatively large. This one has similar leaf size as others. However, it is quite obvious that it curls inwards, and it has a much harder texture. It's not necessarily thicker, because you can see that the new leaves are not that thick, quite similar to what I have shown you before. But the leaf texture itself is much harder than the other ones. You can't really bend the leaf. It also have a different veination, as you can see. The middle part is very obvious and stark, and then the side of the leaf curled inwards, as I have mentioned. Same to the new leaf, as you see here. It is not flat leaf at all, but it is curled inwards like a taco. With regard to the growth speed, I would say this one is very slow. I got this one at the same time as I got yuennanensis, but as you can see, this is everything that I got. This one is a 6 centimeters wide pot, and it grows extremely slow. Let me know in the comment box below if your Lyi LT08012 is also really slow. If yours are really fast, please leave your comment down below. What are your tips to speed up the growth? I would love to have this one larger, but I'm just happy that it is continuously pushing out new growth point, and it is healthy and happy. Just that it is more on a slower point. I have this one in my Mealspo cabinet, so basically the same as the rest of the Hoyas that I am showing you. Well, except for yuennanensis, which I put it in my room environment. Next up over here, it is a quite unique shaped Hoya. I got this one from Hoya Passion. This one is Hoya Lyi with narrow leaf. And this is the one leaf, one note cutting that I got from Edita around a year and a half ago. You can check out on the side the unboxing video that I have filmed. And yes, you are right. These 5 leaf, I wouldn't really count this one because it's super tiny, actually just pushed out in 1.5 years. Again, it is super slow growing, and I mean, at the time I got the node itself, it is really small, so maybe it is because of that, but I still think this, in general, Hoya Lyi is not a fast grower. Again, let me know if you know the tricks in growing it up quicker. Right, let's move on to the texture. This one over here is very shiny, and you can see the surface is very smooth. You can see that this is the leaf that comes from Edita, and the new leaf that has pushed out under my condition is much smaller. Maybe Edita has a less light environment, that's why the leaf is larger. But let's take a look at the texture. This leaf is very thick, and it doesn't have that veination that I showed you previously, I would say it's a different texture. It's not the vein that is special here, but it's more like the uneven bumps. The new leaf comes in more lime color, and you kind of can see the vein in this one. And also the shape is very different amongst all of them. And last but definitely not the least, this is the true gem that I would say I obtained last year in 2023. It was one of my wish list Hoya in 2023. You can check out my video that I've made in the beginning of last year. I am so glad that I got this one through a trade, because I never really know how a variegated Lyi would look like, and not to mention, if you see this coloration, there is no filter, nothing that I'm adding to it. This is almost like a highlighter pink. This is a new leaf. Obviously, I forgot to mention, this one is Hoya Lyi Prism, which is the outer variegated Lyi. And what is the most interesting story that I would like to share with you on this particular Hoya is that I got this Hoya shipped to me the day before I delivered. So I remember when I was talking to the collector, I am super glad that the shipment went really smooth, because I was worried that if the shipment delivered 1 day late or 2 days late, I might not be able to unbox it right away. Probably will take me a couple of days before I unbox it if everything went well. So essentially, that was my baby was delivered just the day after this one went to my mailbox. And I was really glad and thankful that this one comes in on time, because it was not the actual expected due date. My little boy was born 1 week before the expected due date. So I'm really glad this one actually made it, not only made it to my mailbox, but also made it to grow. At the time when I received this one, it was a 1 leaf, 1 node cutting, and I can show you the side on the node that the collector has sent me. And I'm just really thankful that she traded with me with several Hoyas that I have. I just think this Hoya is super unique. I don't think I have any Hoyas having the same characteristic. First of all, if we focus on the mature leaf, this is the original leaf that I got 2.5 months ago. This one, as you can see, it has not only outer variegated, but it has some splashes and spotted green. And this is a very unique characteristic of a variegated plant, particularly I would say for Hoya Lyi Prism. I know that there is another Hoya that has the characteristic of this spotted coloration of green together with the outer variegated. I can show you on the side of the video, just so you know what I meant by the characteristic for Hoya Lyi Prism is very unique, because it combines very beautiful things of variegated plants, not only having the outer variegated as you can see over here, but it also have this very interesting spotted green on the variegated part. And not to mention, for the new leaf that comes out, it is crazy. I mean, I know that for outer variegated or for the variegated part, most of the time it will comes in pink slash maybe purplish pink, but this one, it is not just pink, it is literally a glowing highlighter pink that you could see. And the pink will last for, well, I don't know how long the pink will last for, because this is the first new leaf that I have observed, but I will let you know in the comment down below how long the pink lasted for. But I would say Because this one is a one leaf, one node cutting, perhaps it's because of that reason, the new leaf grows really, really slow. I'm super happy to tell you that the new leaf actually started to push out only under 1 week after I have received this plant, and the new leaf has started pushing out. And I was so excited because I know that this plant made it, and at least it shows signs of growth. And this is a solid 2.5 months of growth. So I would say it is more on the slow grower side, but it is just fascinating. If you see that new leaf on the side is also growing, and it takes a while for it to grow, but it is totally worth it. And especially when it comes to how dynamic the color could become. And it also pushed out the new stem over here. So hopefully in springtime I will get a few more leaves and I will finally feel safe for this plant because it is really, really unique. Let me know in the comment box below which one of these is your favorite. It's not the easiest choice, so you could say all of them if you want. Thank you very much for staying until now. I hope you like all of the Hoya Lyi that I showed you. If you have any care tips that you would like to share with all of us, and if you have Hoya Lyi Prism, please let me know what are your care tips to keep the variegation, to make that grow quicker. I would love to learn that from you. If you like this type of content and you would like to support me making similar videos, don't forget to hit that like button. If you like this type of content and you would like to support me making similar videos, don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with your friends. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Well, until next time, I wish everyone is having a great day, and I will have to run to take care of my little ones right now. See you next time. Bye.